The blade was slick with her father's blood, and Bellamy's hands wouldn't stop shaking. "I'm sorry, Daddy," the 6-year-old whispered, tears streaming down her face as she pulled the silver knife from his chest. "I'm so sorry." Flynn smiled at her one last time, his red vampire eyes fading to the brown she remembered from when she was small, when she still believed monsters only lived in storybooks. "Don't be sorry, baby girl. Be brave. Like your sister." Then he crumbled to ash in front of her. Her mother screamed. Her sister's heart stopped beating. And somewhere in the blood chapel behind them, the vampire who'd stolen Bellamy's entire world started dying because a little girl chose to save her family by destroying her own father. But that wasn't how this story started. It started 3 days earlier, when Bellamy woke up to find her sister's bed empty and blood on the windowsill. It started when their mother grabbed a gun she didn't know how to use and went hunting for a vampire she didn't remember loving. It started when a little girl with twisted legs and glowing amber eyes walked into a town square holding a kidnapped baby and said 2 words that shattered an 800-year-old vampire's world. "Hello, Father." Salvatore Draven had lived for 843 years. He had survived wars, plagues, and betrayals that would have shattered mortal minds. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for the moment he saw her. The little girl with amber eyes and twisted legs, holding his infant son in her trembling arms. The town square of Pine Ridge was packed with Saturday morning shoppers. Humans everywhere, oblivious, buying coffee and fresh bread like the world wasn't tilting off its axis. Salvatore stood frozen near the fountain, his enhanced senses screaming at him in a language he didn't want to understand. His blood recognized her before his mind did. The child limped through the crowd, her gait uneven, her small face set with determination that looked wrong on someone so young. She couldn't have been older than 6. Baby Caspian was wrapped in a blanket against her chest, his tiny amber eyes, identical to hers, blinking in the morning sunlight. Sunlight. His son was in direct sunlight and not burning. Salvatore's dead heart would have stopped if it could. He'd torn apart his entire castle looking for Caspian. 17 hours since someone breached his blood wards and stole his heir from a tower room sealed by magic that only his direct bloodline could pass through. Impossible. The Covenant's best trackers found nothing. No scent, no trail, no explanation. And now this child, this human child, was walking toward him like she had every right to hold what was his. Their eyes met across the crowd. She smiled. "Hello, Father," the little girl said, her voice clear and steady despite the blood dripping from her nose. "I brought your son home. Now give me back my sister." The world stopped. "Father." Salvatore's mind raced through centuries of memories, searching, calculating. He'd never seen this child before. Never. But his blood knew her. He could feel it singing in his veins, the same way it sang when he held Caspian, the same way it had sung 50 years ago when he held his first disabled son before the Covenant elders murdered him. "Who are you?" His voice came out rougher than intended. "My name is Indy." She shifted Caspian's weight, and Salvatore saw how much pain the movement caused her. Her legs weren't just twisted. They were deformed in the exact same way Caspian's had been before the experimental treatments. "Indy Ashford. And you gave my mother your blood 6 years ago in a facility outside Aspen. You bonded with her. You marked her bloodline. You made me." The facility. Rowan. The memories hit him like silver bullets. The human nurse with sad eyes who offered him her blood freely. The bond that ignited like wildfire and broke his curse. The woman whose memories he'd erased because he was too afraid of what they'd created together. "That's impossible," Salvatore whispered. "The bond was broken. I severed it. You can't exist. And yet here I stand." Indy took another step closer. Caspian cooed softly, reaching his tiny hands toward her face, not toward Salvatore. Your words didn't stop me because your blood flows in my veins. I walked right through them. And I took your son because someone else was going to kill him. Explain. Now. Salvatore's power rolled out like thunder, making nearby humans shiver without knowing why. But Indy didn't flinch. The woman you think is your mate? Serafina? She hired someone to kidnap Caspian 3 nights ago. They were going to use him in a ritual sacrifice. I heard him crying in my sleep. I followed the blood song, the same song you hear when your bloodline calls to you. I found him in a warehouse outside Denver, surrounded by vampires I'd only seen in nightmares. So I took him. I saved him. Her amber eyes blazed. And while I was saving your son, those same vampires took my sister. My twin. My Bellamy. Salvatore's ancient instincts screamed danger. This child knew too much. Was too calm. Too powerful. He moved with vampire speed, reaching for Caspian. Indy's eyes flared bright gold. Caspian screamed. Not a baby's cry. A supernatural shriek that shattered 3 car windows and sent birds fleeing from trees. The infant's tiny body convulsed, rejecting his father's touch, clinging to Indy like she was the only safe thing in a terrifying world. Salvatore stumbled back, shocked. His own son didn't recognize him. He's bonded to me now, Indy said quietly. Because I fed him when he was starving. Because I sang to him when he was scared. Because I bled for him. She held up her small wrist, showing puncture marks. He needed blood. I gave him mine. Horror crashed through Salvatore. You let an infant vampire feed from you? You could have died. We don't die easy, do we? Indy's smile was sad and far too knowing. Those of us cursed with your blood. She swayed suddenly, her legs giving out. Salvatore caught her before she hit the ground, and the moment his skin touched hers, the bond exploded through him like lightning. 6 years of severed connection roaring back to life. He saw flashes, Rowan screaming in a delivery room. 2 babies, one crying, one silent. A man running away in disgust. Years of hiding, moving, fear. And 3 nights ago, another little girl with normal legs and bright green eyes, vanishing from her bedroom while Indy's own blood burned with warning. Indy looked up at him, blood streaming from her nose and ears now. I can feel her dying, she whispered. The woman who took my sister is in your castle right now, and she's drinking Bellamy's blood to break your mate bond. You have 3 hours before she takes your throne. Then her amber eyes rolled back, and she went limp in his arms. Caspian, still pressed against her chest, began to cry. And Salvatore Draven, Lord of the Western Covenant, ancient and powerful and feared, realized he was holding 2 disabled children who somehow held the fate of his entire world in their broken bodies. Behind him, a woman's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Put down my daughter. Now. He turned. Rowan Ashford stood 10 feet away, pointing a gun directly at his head. Her hands shook but her eyes were clear. She'd aged since he last saw her. Motherhood had carved strength into her features that hadn't been there before. Hello, Rowan, Salvatore said softly. We need to talk. The only thing you need to do, she said, cocking the weapon, is tell me where my other daughter is before I put silver bullets through your skull. The bond hummed between them, 6 years of silence screaming back to life. And in Salvatore's castle, 17 miles away, Serafina smiled as she pressed a blade to a little green-eyed girl's throat and began to chant words in a language older than human civilization. The clock was ticking. 3 hours until midnight. 3 hours until everything Salvatore had built turned to ash. What he didn't know yet was that the woman holding a gun to his head and the unconscious child in his arms were about to become the only thing standing between him and total destruction. That the bond he tried to sever would become the weapon that either saved them all or doomed them forever. And that sometimes the monsters we create are the only ones who can save us from the monsters we've become. If you're already holding your breath, if your heart is racing, if you need to know what happens when a mother's rage meets a vampire's guilt, then stay with me. Because this story is about to shatter everything you thought you knew about monsters, love, and the blood that binds us beyond death itself. The castle was burning. Not with fire. With chaos. Salvatore materialized in the grand hall with Indy unconscious in one arm and Caspian screaming in the other. Rowan appeared 3 seconds later, dragged through a portal by his head of security. She came out swinging, gun still raised, maternal fury radiating off her like heat. 20 Covenant guards surrounded them instantly, fangs out, eyes glowing red. "Stand down," Salvatore commanded. Nobody moved. His second in command, a vampire named Christoph who'd served him for 2 centuries, stepped forward. "My lord, your mate's chambers have been found empty. There's blood everywhere. And you bring human civilians into our stronghold during a crisis?" I said stand down. The power in his voice made the chandeliers shake. Guards retreated. Barely. Rowan's gun tracked every movement, her finger on the trigger. "Where is my daughter? Where is Bellamy?" "I don't know," Salvatore said, and watched her face crumble. "But she does." He looked down at Indy, still limp in his arms. "And she's dying because she used blood magic she's too young to control." "Then heal her." Rowan's voice broke. "You did this to her. You marked my bloodline. You made her into this. So fix it." Salvatore carried Indy toward the west wing, Rowan following like a lioness guarding wounded cubs. Caspian had finally quieted, his tiny fist wrapped around a strand of Indy's dark hair. "I can stabilize her," Salvatore said. "But you need to understand what she is. What she did. 6-year-old children don't break through blood wards. They don't track vampire essence across state lines. They don't survive feeding infant vampires with their own veins. She's 6 years old." Rowan's hands shook. "She likes coloring books and strawberry pancakes and stories about talking animals. She's not your weapon. No. She's something rarer." Salvatore laid Indy on a bed in his private healing chamber. "She's a blood oracle. A myth I didn't believe existed until today." He bit his wrist and let 3 drops of his blood fall onto Indy's lips. The reaction was immediate. Her back arched, her eyes flew open, glowing pure gold. She gasped like she'd been drowning. "Mom?" Indy's voice was small and scared and 6 again. Rowan shoved Salvatore aside and gathered her daughter into her arms. "I'm here, baby. I'm here. You are safe. Bellamy's not." Indy pulled back, tears streaming. "Mom, I can hear her. She's so scared. She keeps calling for us and nobody comes." "Where is she?" "Close. Underground. She's..." Indy's eyes unfocused. "There's a woman with red hair singing to her in a language that tastes like blood. She's telling Bellamy that she's going to make her special. That she's going to make her better than me." Salvatore went very still. "Serafina. Your mate." Indy looked at him with those impossible amber eyes. "Except she's not really, is she? You never loved her." The bond was forced. Political. You can feel the difference because you know what a real bond feels like. Her gaze shifted to Rowan. "You both do." The air between Salvatore and Rowan suddenly felt charged. dangerous. Rowan's wrist began to burn. She gasped, yanking up her sleeve. There, where 6 years ago she'd given blood freely in a medical facility she barely remembered, a scar was glowing. Silver and gold, pulsing like a heartbeat. Salvatore's matching mark blazed on his own wrist. The bond roared back to life with 6 years of pent-up force. He felt everything. Her terror. Her rage. Her desperate, clawing love for her children. The way she'd fought alone for 6 years, protecting a daughter the world called monster, working 3 jobs, moving constantly, never sleeping fully because nightmares plagued Indy and only Rowan's voice could calm them. It nearly brought him to his knees. And Rowan felt him. 800 years of grief. 50 years of mourning a son murdered for being imperfect. The crushing loneliness of immortality. The guilt of creating Indy and abandoning Rowan. The constant, gnawing fear that everything he touched turned to ash. She staggered. Caught herself on the bedpost. "Get out of my head," she whispered. "I can't." Salvatore's voice was raw. "The bond won't let me. I'm sorry." "Sorry?" Rowan's laugh was broken glass. "You made me a mother to a child who doesn't belong in any world. Now help me save the one who does." Before Salvatore could respond, Indy screamed. Her whole body convulsed, blood pouring from her nose. The ritual. She's starting the ritual. She has Bellamy on an altar and there are candles made from vampire bone and she's cutting her in. "Where?" Salvatore demanded. "Below us. Deep below. There's a chamber sealed by old magic. Bellamy's crying for me and I can't reach her," and Indy's eyes rolled back. "Mom, she's going to make Bellamy drink something. Something that smells like death and tastes like fire. She's going to put Caspian's broken vampire essence into Bellamy's human body. She's going to make my sister into what I am. And it's going to kill them both." Rowan grabbed Salvatore by the throat. She was human, weak, breakable. But rage made her strong enough that he let her. "You knew," she hissed. "You knew she was planning something. I suspected Serafina's loyalty was compromised. I didn't know she'd target children." His eyes blazed red. "I didn't know she was insane enough to attempt to transfer ritual. It hasn't been successful in 3,000 years. Then stop her. The old chambers are sealed. Only direct bloodline can open them." Indy sat up, wiping blood from her face with shaking hands. "I can open them." "Absolutely not." Rowan pulled her daughter close. "You can barely stand. Bellamy can't stand at all right now. She's struck to stone and she's 6 years old and she's terrified." Indy's voice cracked. "I'm her sister. I'm supposed to protect her. That's my job." She slid off the bed. Her twisted legs nearly gave out. Salvatore caught her. "Show me," he said quietly. Indy led them through hallways Salvatore had walked for 2 centuries, down staircases he'd climbed 1,000 times. But when she stopped in front of a section of stone wall in the oldest part of the castle, he froze. "There's nothing there," Kristoff said, having followed with 12 guards. "There is if you have the right blood." Indy pressed her small palm against the stone. The wall screamed. That was the only word for it. A sound like 1,000 dying things, like metal on bone, like the earth splitting open. The stone peeled back like flesh, revealing a doorway that reeked of old magic and older death. Darkness yawned beyond. Indy stepped through. Salvatore followed, Rowan right behind him, and what they found in that hidden chamber stopped them all cold. Glass coffins. Dozens of them. Stretching back into shadows that even vampire sight couldn't penetrate. and inside each one, perfectly preserved, was a child. Some infant, some toddlers, some nearly adolescent, all of them with amber eyes, all of them with twisted limbs, all of them dead. Rowan made a sound no mother should ever make. Her knees hit the floor, and in the center of the tomb of failed heirs, strapped to an altar surrounded by burning bone candles, was Bellamy. Her bright green eyes wide with terror, her wrist cut and bleeding into a golden chalice. Standing over her, knife raised, was Serafina. Her red hair wild, her smile serene. "Welcome, my love," she said to Salvatore. "You're just in time to witness the birth of the perfect heir. The one you could never give me. The one this human child will become." Rowan raised her gun and fired. The silver bullet caught Serafina in the shoulder. She didn't even flinch. "Oh, darling," Serafina laughed. "You're going to have to do so much better than that." And that's when the three ancient vampire women stepped out of the shadows behind the altar, fangs gleaming, and the tomb door slammed shut behind them, sealing them all inside with the dead. Rowan fired again. And again. Every bullet found Serafina's body, but the vampire woman just smiled wider, like the silver was an inconvenience, not a threat. "Mom!" Bellamy's scream cut through everything. Rowan tried to run to her daughter, but one of the ancient vampire women moved faster than sight, slamming her into a glass coffin. The impact shattered the case. Rowan fell into centuries-old dust and the tiny bones of a child who'd been dead for longer than America had existed. She vomited. Couldn't help it. The reality of what she was touching, what surrounded them, made her human mind rebel. Salvatore moved like lightning, engaging two of the vampire women while Christophe and the guards fought the third. But they were old. So terribly old. Their power made the air thick and hard to breathe. Indy stood perfectly still in the center of chaos, her small hand pressed against the nearest glass coffin. "Indy, get down!" Rowan screamed. But Indy wasn't listening. Her eyes had gone distant, glowing brighter than ever before. "I can hear them," she whispered. "All of them. They're still here. Their voices soaked into the stone. Their memories crystallized in their blood." She moved to the next coffin. Then the next. Touching glass, whispering names no one had spoken in decades. In centuries. Sebastian. Died age 4. Failed to transform. Covenant Elder Marius slit his throat. She moved on. Nicolette. Died age 2. Couldn't digest human food or blood. Starved to death while they argued about her worth. Another coffin. Thomas. Matthias. Celeste. Orion. Tears streamed down her face. So many children. Salvatore froze mid-fight. "I didn't kill them. I know." Indy's voice was strange. Ancient. Like she was channeling something beyond herself. "You tried to save them. Every single one. You hid them here after the Covenant executed them. You preserved their bodies because you couldn't bear to burn them. You've been mourning for 200 years. "That's impossible," Christophe gasped, pinned beneath an ancient vampire's foot. "The Lord would never." "The Lord," Indy interrupted, "has been breaking Covenant law for 2 centuries. Hiding the evidence of their murders. Protecting the proof of their monstrosity." She looked at Salvatore with eyes far too old for her face. "You're not the monster in this story. You never were." Serafina laughed, the sound echoing off glass and bone. "How touching. The abomination absolves the tyrant. But it changes nothing. She lifted the golden chalice filled with Bellamy's blood. The ritual is nearly complete. One more ingredient. The willing sacrifice of a perfect human child's essence, combined with the unwilling theft of a broken vampire heir's power. When I drink this and speak the words, your daughter will become the first successful transfer in 3,000 years. And Caspian, she glanced at the infant still clutched in Indy's arms, will become fully human. Powerless. Mortal. Everything the Covenant despises. No. Salvatore lunged, but the ancient vampire women formed a barrier of pure power that threw him back into the wall hard enough to crack stone. Serafina raised the chalice to her lips. Indy moved. Despite her twisted legs, despite being 6 years old, despite every logical limitation, she crossed the distance between them in a heartbeat. She ripped the chalice from Serafina's hands, and before anyone could stop her, she drank. The blood of her twin sister poured down her throat. Rowan's scream could have shattered worlds. Indy's eyes exploded with golden light. The ritual circle around Bellamy's altar cracked like lightning had struck it. The bone candles extinguished all at once. Bellamy gasped, the magical bindings releasing her. She rolled off the altar, hitting the ground hard. But Indy started convulsing. No, no, no. Rowan crawled to her daughter, gathering her into her arms. Baby, what did you do? What did you do? Took her pain, Indy choked out, blood pouring from her eyes, her nose, her ears. That's what sisters do. The ritual needed her fear. Her suffering. I drank it instead. I took it into me. Her small body shook violently. The vampire essence in her blood was at war with Bellamy's pure human blood. Two opposite forces trying to occupy the same space. She was tearing apart from the inside. Serafina staggered back, staring at the broken ritual circle. You ruined it. You stupid, broken little thing. You ruined everything. Good, Indy whispered. Then her heartbeat stopped. Just stopped. Rowan felt the exact moment her daughter's heart quit beating. She screamed Indy's name over and over, doing chest compressions like she'd learned in nursing school, breathing air into lungs that wouldn't inflate. Bellamy threw herself at her sister, sobbing. Indy, wake up. Please wake up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was ever scared of you. I'm sorry I ever wished I was the only twin. Please don't leave me. Salvatore knelt beside them, his ancient composure shattered. There's a way. One way. Then do it. Rowan screamed at him. If I give her my blood directly, a full transfusion, it will save her. But it will also complete the bond between our bloodlines permanently. She won't be human anymore. She won't be vampire. She'll be something the world has never seen. Every covenant on earth will hunt her. She'll never have a normal life. She's never had a normal life. Rowan grabbed his wrist, yanked it to her mouth, and bit down hard enough to draw blood. Save my daughter, or I swear on everything holy I will spend the rest of my existence making you suffer. Salvatore had survived 800 years of threats. This one made him believe in hell. He tore open his wrist with his own fangs and pressed it to Indy's blue lips. His ancient blood poured into her. The bond between them, between him and Rowan, between all of them, ignited like a supernova. Indy's eyes flew open. She gasped. Her heart beat once. Twice. Settled into a rhythm that wasn't quite human, wasn't quite vampire. Something new. Rowan sobbed with relief, crushing both her daughters against her chest. Salvatore slumped back, the transfusion having cost him more than he'd admit. And that's when the slow, mocking applause echoed through the tomb. Serafina stepped forward, no longer alone. Behind her, the tomb door had opened. A dozen vampires in tactical gear flooded in, weapons drawn. And leading them, looking exactly the same as the day he'd walked out on his family 6 years ago, was a man Rowan had once loved. Flynn. Her ex-husband. The father of her children. With fangs. "Hello, Rowan," Flynn said, his voice the same but his eyes completely different. Red where they'd once been brown. Dead where they'd once been warm. "Did you really think I left because I was scared? I left because I was called. The Covenant has been watching you since the day you bonded with Salvatore. Watching. Waiting. And now," he looked at Indy with disgust. "Now we finally have what we've been waiting for. A blood oracle. The first one born in 3,000 years. Bellamy whispered, "Daddy?" Flynn's smile was cruel. "Not anymore, sweetheart. But don't worry. When this is over, I'm going to make you special. Just like your sister. Maybe better." He stepped toward them. Rowan raised her empty gun, knowing it was useless. Salvatore tried to stand but he was too weak from the transfusion. And Indy, still cradled in her mother's arms, looked up at the man who'd abandoned them and said 5 words that made the entire room go silent. "You were never my father anyway." Her eyes blazed gold and every glass coffin in the tomb shattered at once, releasing 200 years of trapped supernatural energy in a wave that knocked everyone off their feet. In the chaos, in the screaming, in the moment when dead children's last moments replayed like ghosts in the air around them, Serafina grabbed Caspian from where he'd fallen and pressed a knife to the infant's throat. "Enough games," she hissed. "The Oracle comes with us, or Salvatore's precious heir dies right now. You have 5 seconds to decide." Time fractured into impossible seconds. Serafina's blade pressed against Caspian's soft throat. The infant didn't cry. He just stared at Indy with those amber eyes, like he knew she was the only one who could save him. 5, Serafina counted. 4. Salvatore's hands shook. 800 years of control, gone. "Please. Take me instead. Kill me. Do whatever you want. Just don't hurt him." 3. Indy tried to stand but her legs gave out. The transfusion had saved her life but her body was still adjusting, still fighting itself. 2. Rowan looked at her daughters. Bellamy traumatized and shaking. Indy barely able to breathe. Then she looked at the infant who shared Indy's cursed blood, who her daughter had risked everything to save. She made a choice. Take her. Rowan's voice cracked. Take Indy. Just let the baby go. Mom, no. Indy gasped. But Flynn was already moving, crossing the space between them with vampire speed. He grabbed Indy by her small arm, yanking her away from Rowan with a force that made the child cry out. Let her go. Bellamy screamed, launching herself at her father. Flynn caught her with his free hand, holding both twins now, and for a moment something flickered across his face. Something almost human. Almost regretful. Then it vanished. You have no idea how long I've waited for this, Flynn said, looking at Rowan. Do you want to know the truth? The real truth? I don't want anything from you. Too bad. His smile was vicious. I was turned 8 years ago. The Covenant found me, made me an offer. Infiltrate the life of the nurse who bonded with Salvatore Draven. Get close to her. Marry her if necessary. Monitor her for signs of supernatural contamination. He shook Indy slightly. When this one was born glowing and broken, I reported it immediately. They told me to stay. To watch. To wait until the bloodline manifested fully. Rowan's world tilted. You never loved me. I never even liked you. Flynn's cruelty was casual, easy. You were an assignment. A boring one. And these two, he looked at the twins with disgust, were science experiments I had to pretend to care about. Do you know how exhausting it is to fake humanity? Bellamy made a small, broken sound. Flynn looked down at her, this daughter he'd held as a newborn, whose first word had been Dada, who'd cried for weeks when he left. Don't look at me like that, he said. You were always the disappointment. The normal one. The useless one. But don't worry, sweetheart. Come with Daddy now and I'll fix you. I'll make you special. Just like Indy. No, Bellamy whispered. You're not my daddy. Daddies don't hurt people. Something in Flynn's expression hardened. Then I guess you're an orphan. He moved toward the tomb exit, dragging both girls. Salvatore lunged, but the ancient vampire women formed a wall again, holding him back. Rowan didn't think. She grabbed a piece of broken glass from the shattered coffins and threw herself at Flynn with purely human desperation, stabbing at anything she could reach. The glass plunged into his side. He roared, releasing Indy. Serafina screamed, "You idiot! Don't damage the oracle." But Rowan wasn't aiming for Indy. She was aiming for Flynn. Every ounce of rage, every moment of betrayal, every year of struggling alone poured into her attacks. She was weaker, slower, human. She didn't care. Flynn backhanded her across the face. Rowan's head snapped back. Blood filled her mouth. Through the bond, Salvatore felt her pain like his own bones breaking. He roared, tearing through the vampire women with renewed fury. Bellamy was still in Flynn's grip, frozen with shock. And Indy, freed but broken, watched her mother hit the ground bleeding. That's enough, Serafina announced. She pressed the blade harder against Caspian's throat. A thin line of blood appeared. Everyone stops where the air dies. Now. Salvatore froze. Christoph and the guards froze. The entire tomb went silent except for Rowan's ragged breathing and Indy's quiet sobs. Serafina's smile was triumphant. Good. Now let me tell you what's really happening here. I was never Salvatore's true mate. The bond was manufactured. Faked. The same rogue scientist who treated him 6 years ago used Rowan's stolen blood to create a synthetic mate bond. I've been planted here for 6 years, just like Flynn was planted in Rowan's life. We've all been pieces on a chessboard. Salvatore's face went completely blank. Why? Because the Covenant elders wanted to see what would happen when your cursed bloodline met human compassion. They wanted to see if the legends were true. If a blood oracle could really be born. Serafina looked at Indy with something like hunger. And here she is. Perfect. Broken. Powerful. The first one in 3,000 years. I'll kill you, Salvatore said quietly. I'll kill everyone involved. No, you won't. Serafina began backing toward a section of wall that was glowing with fresh blood magic. A portal. Because at midnight tonight, I'm going to perform the real ritual. The one that's been planned since the day Rowan gave you her blood. I'm going to sacrifice the blood oracle at the old blood chapel, and when I do, I'll become immune to every vampire weakness. Sunlight. Silver. Wood. Holy water. Everything. I'll be unstoppable. The blood chapel was destroyed centuries ago, Salvatore said. No. It was hidden. And your little oracle knows exactly where it is. Serafina's eyes locked on Indy. Don't you, child? You've seen it in your dreams. You've walked its halls in your sleep. You've heard the whispers of the original curse. Indy's face went white. That's impossible, Rowan whispered, crawling to her daughter. She has nightmares, but they're just dreams. They're memories, Indy said quietly. Memories that aren't mine. I see a place made of black stone and bones. I see symbols written in blood that never dries. I see the first vampire being born from human greed and divine punishment. Her amber eyes filled with tears. I thought I was going crazy. You're not crazy. You're connected to the source. Serafina stepped into the portal with Caspian. Midnight. The Blood Chapel. Bring the oracle or I kill the heir and start a war that will slaughter thousands. Your choice, Salvatore. Wait. Flynn dragged Bellamy toward the portal. I'm taking this one. Insurance. No. Rowan lunged, but she was too slow, too human, too broken. Flynn and Serafina vanished through the portal with both children. It sealed behind them. The tomb fell silent except for Rowan screaming. Salvatore stood perfectly still, his mind fracturing. 6 years of believing Serafina was his mate. 6 years of forcing himself to care for a woman chosen by politics. All of it lies. All of it manipulation. And now she had both heirs. Both innocent children. We have to go after them, Rowan sobbed, beating her fists against the sealed wall. We have to get them back. We have to. The portal is coded to Serafina's blood, Kristoff said quietly. We can't follow. Not without knowing the destination coordinates. Then we find another way. Rowan spun on Salvatore. You're supposed to be this powerful lord. This ancient vampire. Do something. But Salvatore couldn't move. Couldn't think. He was 800 years old and he'd been outmaneuvered by his own covenant. Made a fool. Made a pawn. Indy pulled herself up using a broken coffin, her twisted legs shaking. I know where they are. Everyone turned. The Blood Chapel. It's real. It's in the San Juan Mountains, hidden under what humans think is an abandoned mining town called Ashwick. Her voice was steady despite her tears. I can get us there. I can open the doors that only Blood Oracle magic can unseal. It's a trap, Kristoff warned. They want you there. They want you walking into your own execution. I know. Indy looked at her mother with ancient eyes in a child's face. But Bellamy didn't ask for any of this. She didn't ask to be my twin. She didn't ask to have a father who's a monster or a sister who's an abomination. She's normal and good and she deserves to go home and color pictures and eat strawberry pancakes and forget any of this ever happened. Indy, baby, we'll find another way. Rowan tried to hold her but Indy stepped back. There is no other way, Mom. I've seen all the possible futures in the blood memories. Every path leads to the chapel. Every timeline ends at midnight. She picked up the piece of glass Rowan had used to stab Flynn, its edges sharp and stained with vampire blood. They want to sacrifice me to break the vampire curse and gain immunity. Fine. Let them try. What are you saying? Salvatore finally found his voice. Indy's smile was sad and far too old. I'm saying we go to the chapel. We face Serafina. We save Bellamy and Caspian. And if a sacrifice is what ends this, if my death is what saves everyone I love, then that's what happens. No. Rowan's voice was steel. I won't let you. You don't get to choose, Mom. None of us do. Indy turned to Salvatore. The ritual needs to happen at midnight during the new moon. We have 7 hours. Will you help me save them, or will you let your fear make you useless again? The words hit Salvatore like silver bullets. Useless. Like he'd been useless 50 years ago when the Covenant murdered his first disabled son. Useless when they installed Serafina as his false mate. Useless when they stole Caspian and Bellamy. He looked at the 6-year-old child with his blood in her veins, offering to die to save others, and saw everything he'd failed to be for 8 centuries. I'll help you, he said. But we're not going there to let you die. We're going to burn that chapel and everyone in it to ash. Indy nodded once. Then her legs gave out and she collapsed again, blood pouring from her nose. The transfusion was killing her slowly. The mixed blood in her system at war with itself. She had 7 hours before midnight. She'd be lucky to survive 3. What happens when a child carries the weight of salvation and a mother's love collides with impossible choices? What happens when an ancient vampire finally faces the monsters he helped create? Stay with us, because the darkest hour is coming, and not everyone will survive the dawn. The drive to Ashwick took 4 hours through mountain roads that barely existed anymore. Indy lay across the back seat, her skin growing paler with each passing mile. Her heartbeat was erratic. Sometimes too fast. Sometimes stopping for seconds at a time before stuttering back to life. Rowan held her daughter's hand and tried not to scream. Salvatore drove in silence, pushing the vehicle faster than physics should allow. The bond hung between him and Rowan like a live wire, carrying her terror straight into his chest. She's not going to make it to midnight, Rowan whispered. She will. Salvatore's voice was steel. She has to. That's not how dying works. It is for blood oracles. He glanced in the rearview mirror at Indy's small, broken form. Her body is trying to stabilize. Trying to reconcile human and vampire. If she survives the next 3 hours, she'll emerge stronger than either species. And if she doesn't survive? Salvatore said nothing. Ashwick appeared like a ghost town in the pre-dawn darkness. Abandoned buildings. Collapsed mine shafts. No signs of human life for decades. But Salvatore could feel the old magic pulsing beneath the earth. Ancient. Hungry. Wrong. The blood chapel was here. Somewhere. They parked at the edge of town. Kristoff and 6 Covenant guards materialized from the shadows, having traveled ahead by supernatural means. The chapel is half a mile north, Kristoff reported. Underground. Protected by wards we can't break. And my lord, there's something else. Someone else. He led them through the ruins to what looked like a collapsed church. But beneath the rubble, stone steps descended into darkness that reeked of blood and sulfur. At the bottom of those steps, chained to the wall with silver that burned his flesh, was Flynn. Rowan froze. Her ex-husband hung there, shirt torn, skin blistered where the chains touched. He looked up at their approach and laughed. The sound was broken. Bitter. Took you long enough, Flynn rasped. Where is my daughter? Rowan's voice could have cut glass. Inside. With Serafina and the baby. Preparing for the ritual. Flynn's red eyes found Indy, unconscious in Salvatore's arms. Looks like the little abomination isn't doing so well. Shame. Serafina really wanted her alive for the sacrifice. More power that way. Salvatore set Indy down gently and crossed to Flynn in 2 strides. He grabbed the vampire by the throat. Why are you here? Why did she leave you behind? Flynn's laugh turned into a cough that sprayed black blood. Because I failed. I was supposed to deliver both twins. Bellamy and the Oracle. But I hesitated. His eyes found Rowan. For 1 second, when Bellamy looked at me and said I wasn't her daddy anymore, I hesitated. Serafina saw it. Called me compromised. Chained me here as bait. Bait for what? Kristoff demanded. For you. She knew you'd come. Knew the Oracle would lead you straight here. Flynn's smile was horrible. The moment you cross into the chapel, the final wards activate. You'll be trapped inside until the ritual is complete. All of you. Witnesses to the birth of an invincible vampire. Rowan stepped closer to the man she'd once loved. Where exactly is Bellamy? What is Serafina doing to her? Keeping her comfortable. Feeding her. Treating her like a princess. Flynn's expression twisted. Bellamy's not the sacrifice anymore. She's the replacement daughter. Serafina lost her own children 200 years ago when she was human. She's obsessed with the idea of a perfect, pure human child. She wants to turn Bellamy willingly. Make her a true heir. Over my dead body, Rowan said. That can be arranged. Flynn coughed again. But there's something you should know. Something Serafina doesn't realize. About sire bonds. Salvatore's eyes narrowed. Explain. When a vampire turns someone, a sire bond forms. Unbreakable. The turned vampire carries a piece of their sire's essence forever. Flynn looked directly at Salvatore. Serafina is my sire. She turned me 8 years ago. Which means if I die, especially if I'm killed by someone I share human bloodline with, the betrayal poison travels back through the bond. It won't kill her. But it will weaken her. For exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds. The number was so specific it had to be true. You're suggesting we kill you, Salvatore said slowly. I'm suggesting your daughter kills me. Flynn's gaze shifted to Indy, still unconscious. No. Not that one. The human one. Bellamy. My blood daughter. Rowan made a sound like she'd been stabbed. If Bellamy kills me herself, with intention, the betrayal poison will be strongest. Serafina will be vulnerable. You'll have a window. Flynn's chains rattled. There's a weapon inside the chapel. A blade forged from the bones of the first vampire. It's the only thing that can kill Serafina permanently. But someone has to weaken her first. You want me to ask my 6-year-old daughter to murder her own father, Rowan said, each word sharp as broken glass. I want you to give her the choice to save her sister. Flynn's voice dropped. I know what I am. What I've done. I called Indy a thing. I abandoned you both. I've been a monster wearing a man's face for 8 years. But before that, before the Covenant found me, I was just a guy who thought he might actually love you. Who held his newborn daughters and felt something almost like joy. Almost doesn't count. No. It doesn't. Flynn closed his eyes. But maybe this does. Maybe dying to save them counts for something. Maybe it's the one good thing I can do before hell claims me. Behind them, Indy stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, still glowing gold but dimmer now. Fading. Mom, she whispered. We have to go in. Now. Bellamy's crying. She thinks we abandoned her. She thinks nobody's coming. Rowan knelt beside her daughter. Baby, you can barely breathe. We need to. There's no time. Indy sat up, her twisted legs shaking with effort. The ritual starts in 2 hours. If we're not inside when it begins, the wards lock permanently. Bellamy will be trapped forever. And Serafina will turn her into something she's not. Salvatore looked at the entrance to the blood chapel. At Flynn chained to the wall. At Indy dying by inches. At Rowan, this human woman who'd somehow become the center of everything. "If we go in, we might not come out," he said quietly. "Then we don't come out." Rowan stood, her spine steel. "We end this. Tonight. Whatever it takes." She pulled the silver blade from her belt. The one Flynn had carried. The one now stained with his blood and hers. She pressed it into Indy's small hand. "When we find Bellamy," Rowan said, voice shaking but determined, "when we face Serafina and everything falls apart, you give this to your sister. You tell her what it's for. And you let her choose. Not me. Not him. Her. Mom, she's 6 years old. So are you. And you've been making impossible choices since the day you were born." Rowan kissed her daughter's forehead. "Bellamy's stronger than anyone knows. It's time we let her prove it." Flynn watched them with something almost like pride. "She gets that strength from you, you know. Not from me. Never from me." Rowan didn't respond. She just turned toward the chapel entrance. Salvatore fell into step beside her. "Whatever happens in there, don't." Rowan cut him off. "Don't say goodbye. Don't make promises. Just help me get my daughter back." The bond between them pulsed with 6 years of unspoken everything. They descended into the blood chapel together. Behind them, Flynn began to sing softly. A lullaby Rowan recognized from when the girls were babies. When he'd still pretended to be human. When everything was a lie but the melody was sweet. And ahead, in the darkness that smelled of old death and older magic, a little girl with green eyes sat in a circle of bone candles and waited for her family to save her. Not knowing that salvation would cost more than any of them were ready to pay. The clock struck 2 hours to midnight. And in Indy's pocket, the silver blade burned hot enough to scar. The blood chapel was exactly as Indy had seen in her nightmares. Black stone walls carved with symbols that moved in the torchlight. Floors slick with blood that never dried, preserved by magic older than civilization. And in the center, beneath a dome painted with the screaming faces of the damned, stood an altar made entirely of human bones. Bellamy sat on that altar, surrounded by bone candles, wearing a white dress that made her look like a ghost. When she saw Rowan, her face crumpled. "Mommy?" The word broke something fundamental in the universe. Rowan tried to run to her but invisible wards slammed her back. She hit the ground hard, tasting blood. Serafina emerged from the shadows, still holding baby Caspian. The infant was silent now, his amber eyes dull. Drugged. "Welcome to the beginning of everything," Serafina said. Her red hair was loose, wild. Her smile serene. "You're just in time." Salvatore's power rolled out like thunder. "Let them go. This is between us. There is no us, darling. There never was." Serafina traced a finger down Caspian's cheek. "Our entire relationship was theater. But this is real. In 1 hour, I perform a ritual that will make me immune to every weakness. And all it costs is one little broken oracle." Her eyes found Indy. Indy stood on shaking legs, the silver blade hidden in her pocket, burning against her skin. "You can't kill what's already dying. The transfusion is failing. I have maybe an hour left anyway." "Perfect timing then." Serafina set Caspian down in a circle of salt. "But first, a gift. Bellamy, sweetheart, come here." Bellamy didn't move. "Come here or I hurt the baby." The little girl slid off the altar, her green eyes finding her mother's across the chapel. Rowan mouthed, "I love you." Bellamy walked to Serafina on trembling legs. "Good girl." Serafina produced a small vial of dark liquid. "Drink this and you'll become special. Strong. Immortal. You'll never be the normal twin again. You'll be extraordinary." "I don't want to be extraordinary," Bellamy whispered. "I want to go home. This is home now." Bellamy looked at the vial. At Serafina. At her mother and sister and the vampire lord who shared Indy's cursed blood. Then she said 5 words that changed everything. "My daddy told me something." Serafina's smile faltered. "What?" "He said if I killed him, you'd get weak. Weak enough to die." Bellamy's small hand pulled the silver blade from Indy's pocket. Neither of them had noticed her take it. "He said I had to choose." The chapel went silent. "Bellamy, baby, you don't have to do this," Rowan said, her voice breaking. "Yes, I do." Bellamy's hands shook, but her voice was steady. "Because Indy's been protecting me our whole lives. She took my pain in the ritual. She drank my blood to save me. She's been brave when I was scared." Tears streamed down her face. "It's my turn." She ran. A 6-year-old girl with a silver blade, running back through the chapel toward the entrance where Flynn hung in chains. Serafina screamed, lunging after her, but Salvatore was faster. He tackled her, and they went down in a tangle of supernatural fury. Rowan ran after Bellamy, her human legs no match for her daughter's desperate speed. Indy tried to follow, but her body finally gave out. She collapsed, blood pouring from every orifice. And in the entrance chamber, Bellamy stood before Flynn with the blade raised. "I'm sorry, Daddy," she whispered. Flynn smiled. Really smiled. It looked wrong on his vampire face, but somehow right. "Don't be sorry, baby girl. Be strong. Like your mom. Like your sister. I loved you. Before. When I thought you were real. I know. That's the only real thing I ever had." Flynn closed his eyes. "Make it count." Bellamy drove the silver blade into his heart. Flynn gasped. Black blood poured from the wound. His red eyes found Rowan, who'd just reached them. "Thank you," he whispered, "for making me a father. Even if I didn't deserve it." Then he crumbled to ash. Bellamy dropped the blade and fell into her mother's arms, sobbing. And in the chapel, Serafina screamed as the betrayal poison flooded her system. She convulsed, her power flickering like a dying star. 3 minutes and 47 seconds. The clock was ticking. Salvatore threw her against the bone altar. "Where is the bone blade?" Serafina laughed through her pain. "You think I'd leave it where you could find it? It's inside the altar. Sealed with blood magic. Only the Oracle can open it." They both looked at Indy. She was dying. Her heartbeat barely a whisper. Her amber eyes fading to brown. Rowan ran back into the chapel, Bellamy in her arms. "Indy." "The altar," Indy breathed. "Help me to the altar." Salvatore carried her there. Indy pressed her small, bloody hand against the bone. The altar split open. Inside, resting on black velvet, was a blade carved from bone that gleamed like pearl. Ancient. Terrible. Beautiful. Salvatore reached for it. "No," Indy whispered. "Not you. Her." She looked at Rowan. "The ritual needs a sacrifice. Serafina thinks it's me. But the original curse wasn't born from vampire blood. It was born from human greed. A human wanting immortality so badly they traded their soul. Indy's eyes blazed one last time. To break it, you need human choice. Human love. Human sacrifice. No. Rowan shook her head violently. I'm not sacrificing anyone. Not you. Not Bellamy. No one. You don't have to. Indy smiled. You already did. 6 years ago when you gave Salvatore your blood freely. When you bonded with him knowing it might destroy you. You sacrificed your normal life. Your safety. Your future. She pressed the bone blade into Rowan's hand. Finish it. Serafina tried to rise but the poison still held her. 2 minutes left. Rowan looked at the blade. At her daughters. At Salvatore. Through the bond, she felt everything. His 800 years of loneliness. His desperate need to protect what he loved. His absolute certainty that she was the bravest person he'd ever known. She walked to Serafina. You wanted to live forever, Rowan said. I just want to get my kids home and make them breakfast. She drove the bone blade through Serafina's heart. The vampire's eyes went wide. Impossible. Humans can't wield. I'm not just human anymore. Rowan twisted the blade. I'm a mother. And we're the most dangerous things in any world. Serafina exploded into light. Not ash. Pure, blinding light that consumed the chapel, burning away 3,000 years of cursed magic in seconds. When the light faded, the blood on the floors was gone. The screaming faces on the dome were silent. The bone altar had crumbled to dust. And Indy took her first full breath in hours. Her heartbeat steadied. The amber returned to her eyes. Her twisted legs straightened completely, bones were forming with soft cracks that should have hurt but didn't. Caspian, released from the salt circle, crawled to her. His legs were straight too. Perfect. Whole. The curse had broken. Not through death. Through choice. Rowan collapsed, the blade clattering from her hand. Salvatore caught her before she hit the ground. Is it over? She whispered. Yes. Did we win? Yes. Are my babies safe? Salvatore looked at Indy and Bellamy, holding each other and crying. At Caspian, finally whole and healthy. Yes. Rowan closed her eyes. Good. Then I'm going to pass out now. You've earned it. She did. 3 weeks later, Rowan woke up in a bedroom she didn't recognize. Sunlight streamed through windows. Real sunlight. She could hear laughter from somewhere below. She followed the sound down marble stairs to a kitchen where Indy and Bellamy were making pancakes. Strawberry. Caspian sat in a high chair, clapping his chubby hands. Salvatore stood at the stove, looking utterly confused by modern appliances. You're cooking, Rowan said. Attempting to cook. He looked at her with those ancient eyes. You slept for 3 days. I was tired. You broke a 3,000-year-old curse and killed one of the oldest vampires in existence. You were a little more than tired. Indy ran to her, legs strong and straight. Mom. We made breakfast. It's terrible, but we made it. Bellamy followed, still quieter than before but healing. Indy put in too much sugar. Sugar makes everything better, Indy argued. Rowan held both her daughters and cried. Later, after breakfast that was indeed terrible but perfect, she found Salvatore on the balcony. The Covenant wants to meet you, he said. The human who broke the ancient curse. They're calling you the bond breaker. I don't want to meet them. I want to take my kids and go home. This is your home now. If you want it to be. Salvatore didn't look at her. The bond is permanent. But you're not my prisoner. You can leave anytime. Live anywhere. I'll feel you forever regardless. Rowan thought about that. About feeling him forever. His grief. His guilt. His slowly healing heart. What if I don't want to leave? He finally looked at her. Then stay. So she did. 6 months later, Indy woke Rowan with words that stopped her heart. Mom. Caspian and I can hear singing in the blood again. There are more of us. All over the world. Broken children with cursed blood, hiding in the dark. And they're calling for help. Rowan looked at Salvatore. He looked at her. And they both knew this wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. They'd spent 6 months building a family from broken pieces. Now it was time to find the others. To save the children the vampire world had abandoned. To burn down every ancient law that said different meant disposable. If you felt every twist, if you held your breath, if you believe broken things can be made whole, then you understand what comes next. Some families are born. Others are forged in blood and fire and impossible choices. And the most powerful magic in any world isn't immortality. It's love that refuses to quit. Share this if you believe that monsters can be redeemed and mothers can break curses and children can change the world. Because this family is just getting started.